This is Brian Young, Super Bowl champ, 49er. You're listening to Matt and Dexter on The Grueling Truth.
Welcome, everybody, to the 49ers Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network, brought to you by Replenishing Care Technologies, the future in sports medicine. Check it out at thegruelingtruth.net. I'm your host, Matt Andrew Scavage. I'd like to welcome in my co-host, former 49ers running back, Super Bowl 29 champion, Dexter Carter.
Hey, Matt. Good talking to you again. My podcast teammate. Glad to be back with you.
That's right.
Man.
Even if it is in the midst of all of our schedules and all this where we just get on once in a while, it's still good to be back.
Hey, it is still good to be back, because life happens and, things, come up. But I'm glad that we have a show, we have a brand that and a following that, one, when we come back, they listen to us, they support us, and, we fill them with, good information.
Yeah, that is the goal, and the 49ers got a good fan base, and there's lots of options out there, and we've definitely gotten some good feedback from people, and it's a good fan base. So we wanted to do our best for them, and so we're definitely back at it. A lot has happened since the last time we got on. We had just a few things, some good, some bad. Like number one, Reuben Foster. That was tough. And definitely some time has passed, and so 49er fans have had an opportunity to kind of, look at the facts that have come out, and probably everyone feels a sense of disappointment because he was a tremendous talent, and now he's no longer on the team. Looks like the Washington Redskins picked him up, but he's on the commissioner's exempt list. No idea if he'll ever even play again. It's definitely disappointing.
It is disappointing because, one, this situation occurred more than one time, and you got more than one opportunity, to redo, undo, or try to make sure it didn't happen again. And at some point, the opportunities run out, especially with the team that it's happened a few times with, and the opportunity to get enough to play with another team, usually doesn't come. Most of the time it doesn't. He was very fortunate, although he's on the exempt list, he did get picked up. And, and I'm always going to wish a person well, but at some point, you've got to stop putting yourself in harm's way and putting yourself in the same situation, over and over and over. When someone doesn't have your best interest at hand. And if you can't handle a situation, you got to know it before you go into it so you don't keep putting yourself in that particular situation. So I wish him the best, but the 49ers gave him every opportunity that, they could. But at some point, you got to sever the ties.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think they did all they could with it, with the situation. They supported him through the legal process. There were a lot of people calling for him to be cut right away when the first incident, and the 49ers stood by him and kind of let it play out. And we all kind of thought, look, this is made up, and look, everybody was wrong for saying he should be cut. And, they worked with him. They got a 2-game suspension, but they said, look, you're going to be on a short leash. And, yeah, like you said, just same situation, and they had to move on this time.
Yeah, and the last thing one should do is be 2,500-plus miles away from home in a team hotel and bring the person into that hotel and unfortunately create the same type of situation that you were in prior to and leave in handcuffs from the hotel. That's embarrassing as an organization and is the last straw that one anybody can give him. You cannot allow that to happen under any circumstances. That goes to show you that the person doesn't care about you and doesn't care about your future. But unfortunately, his future can be drastically changed because of that and may not get another opportunity. So that's just unfortunate right there.
Yeah, no question about it. So that was right before the Tampa Bay game. So they had a stretch there where didn't play too well against Tampa Bay and against Seattle. Seattle definitely outplayed them. But then came the Denver Broncos game. So, they go out there. Denver Broncos coming into the game at 6-6. They need to win in order to stay alive in the playoff race. Their defense is pretty good. Phillip Lindsay is one of the best running backs, at least in terms of guys you didn't see coming, and he's playing really well this year. Could be a Pro Bowler. The Broncos have a solid team, and, the 49ers really were able to play well. I thought defensively they had one of their best games of the season. But look at the guys they're bringing out there. You got third-string quarterback Nick Mullins, who may be a clear number 2 now, and then you got Jeff Wilson at running back because Matt Breida's battling that ankle injury. Not really even seeing Alfred Morris out there. You got Kendrick Bourne, went undrafted last year, put in the starting lineup with Dante Pettis, and there's so many guys they're bringing out there because of the injuries. But I think they're developing some young talent.
Absolutely, and the key thing now, especially when that you've had key injuries, at the quarterback position, the running back position, the backup at the running back position. The one thing that's key going forward with all of this is when you can create depth, because when Garoppolo comes back and the guys that were injured comes back, the prospects for this team is great. And while they're gone, you got Kittle, who is developing into one of the top, surely 2 or 3 tight ends in the league. I mean, just becoming a beast. Then you're developing not just a backup quarterback, but Beathard can be a great 3 because Mullins has proven that he's a very qualified number 2. I mean, with the hype and excitement that he's created and backed it up, also, this young man has prepared for the moment, and he's taking advantage of his opportunity. And then, you got young receivers like Pettis who's developing, and you got Goodwin out there. So next year, when everything comes back together, and I think the defense is developing well too, I think this is going to be a better team next year and still on path to be a team to be reckoned with in the NFC West.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, you get in this situation. I mean, okay, obviously nobody wants to see 3-10. There's a number of games that they could have won. It didn't happen. It's disappointing to see the losses, but with the way that things go, with once you lose a quarterback, it's usually a death sentence for the season. I mean, that's just the way it is. But so now, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to start tanking? Or are you going to pull together and start doing your best to develop the talent that you've got for next season, build that team chemistry, build the locker room, and and see what you got going into the next season? You can see that's what they're doing. Kyle Shanahan has talked about this is all about 2019. We're going to find the guys that can help us for next season, and we're going to identify those guys with the way that we're playing this year. And so, you got guys like Jeff Wilson, who he's been moved around a few times. He was on the practice squad. I can't remember exactly where he was before. I believe he got released, and then when Breida started, it became more apparent that he wasn't going to play as much. They picked him back up, and he has steadily improved. He looks like a running back who can finish runs, and now he could be a viable 3rd or 4th option with McKinnon coming back next year.
Absolutely. He had, I believe, 90 yards against Denver, and if McKinnon wouldn't have got hurt, Breida wouldn't have got hurt, but would have been that big-time backup, a 1-2 punch like the Atlanta Falcons had before Devontae Freeman got hurt. He would have never seen the field, and he wouldn't be in this position where he would have been a very quality third option for next year. I think he's worked himself, into, going to training camp next year as a very solid third running back, on this offense.
Yeah, because, Alfred Morris was, he was kind of brought in as a stopgap when McKinnon went down. He actually, I think he came in when Joe Williams became apparent Joe Williams was not going to be who they thought that he was when they drafted him. And so they brought Alfred Morris in. Luckily that worked out because then McKinnon went down, and so all of a sudden they had Morris and Breida. But then Wilson kind of came along. So you got to believe that Morris was probably a stopgap situation. So going into next season, you got McKinnon, Breida, I mean, he is really nobody. I don't think anybody thinks that he's overrated or anything like that. He is a good young running back. And so Wilson is probably the clear number 3.
Yeah, and and I'm not taking anything away from Morris, but what it does is it really, brings some guys in, in training camp, if they all are still there, guys that can push each other. So that's a good thing for the backfield.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then we saw, I think the story that everyone was talking about was George Kittle. 7 catches, 210 yards, 85-yard touchdown. I mean, the guy's he can block, he can run with any tight end in the league, and the guy's got good hands, and he is emerging as one of the top tight ends in football. So it was really good to see that. I would have liked to have seen him break Shannon Sharpe's record, but whatever.
Right.
It was just good to see him break out, and everyone's kind of realizing, hey, this is a 5th-round pick from last season, and the Niners really cashed in and making, even though a couple of things now, with Joe Williams being gone, C.J. Beathard being the number 3 quarterback, and Reuben Foster being gone, that 2017 draft doesn't look quite as impressive as it once did. But George Kittle is certainly a find, and then let's not forget Breida went undrafted last year. They found him.
Absolutely. Those 2 guys there are definitely steals for the 49ers, and Kittle's without a doubt. I think he is probably surprising even himself, because even at Iowa, he just didn't show this sign of being this speedster, being this guy that was just going to rip defenses second, third level apart, and he is. He is a beast. And a lot of guys develop later in their careers, and they're just better fit for the NFL level. But Shanahan is definitely putting them in a position to where they can take advantage of his ability. I don't even know if it's a newfound ability or self-discovery, but regardless of what it is, this dude here is consistently showing safeties and linebackers that they can't match up with him.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I heard a story this week that, they went to Iowa and they scouted Beathard. And they started, working out Kittle because that was one of his top targets. And they kind of discovered, hey, this guy's good too. And that reminds me of Dwight Clark, because when they
I was about to tell you, hey, let's throw a quiz out there and say, hey, what does this remind you of?
So you were thinking that too?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, because they went out and they worked Joe Montana out at Notre Dame, and they needed someone for Montana to throw to, and so they had Dwight Clark, and Walsh liked him, and they ended up bringing him in, and he became Dwight Clark. And so the same thing's kind of happening with George Kittle. It's really good to see.
Absolutely, I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him, and his young career is just getting started.
Yeah, no question. So we know about George Kittle. And then how about Dante Pettis? Dante Pettis had that really impressive touchdown against the Vikings in the back of the end zone week 1. And then he'd been kind of banged up. And so he had some knee troubles. Weren't really able to really use him on the punt return in a situation where he excelled so much at Washington. But now he's saying, now I'm finally healthy and I can play the way I want to play. And he's had 2 good games in a row. He had 5 catches for 125 2 weeks ago. and a touchdown, and I believe he was Rookie of the Week. And then last week, 3 catches, 49 yards, and another touchdown. And so he's looking like a very viable weapon in this offense going forward.
Absolutely. Again, Kyle Shanahan, all he's doing is he's taking all this information and he's filing it away because I was going to say no one, but he's the one that's directing this offense. He did not know a number of these parts that are doing so well was going to do this well. Now coming into once the season ends and going to the off season, I believe the plays that he's going to come up with are going to be incredible. And see, what I like about Shanahan is, of course, you usually do what you've done in the past. His offense at Atlanta worked, but he had 2 running backs that, he traded off with, Devontae Freeman and Coleman. But then he comes here and he used a true fullback. And this true fullback works. He's one of the best in the league. And when I think about him, for some reason I think about Kittles. They just remind me so much of each other because he has the ability to catch out of the backfield and he has the ability to, block and be that, blocking fullback. So it's just so much of this offense that is going to look so different than what I think was anticipated when he came here. And that's what you do. You take the pieces of the puzzle that you're dealt with, and you adjust to the changes that are made because of injuries, et cetera, guys that start to develop like Pettis and Kittle, and then you build upon that. And Shanahan has the ability to do that. And so next year, I think what we're going to see once Garoppolo comes back and all these newly formed pieces that wasn't there when Garoppolo came in, but began to develop after he got hurt. Oh man, it's going to be something that's going to be marvelous to watch in this NFC West going into next year, especially with the way the Rams, have played, the way Seattle is bouncing back. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a big time a division, going into the future.
Yeah, you bring up the way Kyle Shanahan's building this team. It is very similar to the Atlanta Falcons of like 2016. They use Patrick DeMarco a lot as a fullback in Atlanta, and that's a lot of teams don't run a fullback in that manner. And Shanahan says he likes to use the fullback in that situation because they're hard to account for. As you can run a lot of plays out of different formations, and with Juszczyk's ability to. He essentially practices with the tight ends. You could list him as a third tight end because he plays like one. And so he's just he's an X factor. He's that kind of a weapon. So yeah, going into the next season, when Jerick McKinnon is back and you pair him with a healthy Matt Breida, that is going to be really hard for defenses to stop. Then you have to worry about Juszczyk. You've got to worry about Kittle. Dante Pettis is developing. You still got Marquise Goodwin, who's among the fastest in the league. Mm-hmm. If they can figure out a number one wide receiver situation, because you got a slot guy in Trent Taylor, he's battling back issues this year, but if he's healthy next year, the guy's got good hands. He's a lot like Cole Beasley in Dallas, and
right.
So it just looks such a deep offense to me. And I think the offensive line is playing pretty well. They've been together all year. They got continuity developing. Mike McGlinchey's turning out to be a really good draft pick at the right tackle. You just see how this offense is coming together. They can just be healthy for next season. I really believe that offense is going to be really hard to stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. I think the most and biggest surprise is that offensive line. Just as you mentioned, I think the continuity, the guys working together for all season, and then going into next year. Man, we criticize when we need to criticize. Last year with the inconsistency of that offensive line, but they really have stepped up to the plate this year. They lost their quarterback. Not their fault. They protected the backup, then protected the backup to the backup that became the actual backup. if that makes any sense, and block for, the backup running back and the ones that back them up, and still played all season. These guys, this experience has really brought something special together for this group, and it's going to begin to show the results next year. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I like we talked about. Last year I think we, Laken Tomlinson, the pickup that they got from the Lions, didn't really play all that well last year. And then once Garoppolo started playing, his play got better, and actually he's carried that over this year. He's been playing pretty well. And Mike Person, the right guard, really a surprise. Right guard was definitely the question mark going into the season. What are they going to do? How are they going to fix this? And he stepped in and he played through some pretty tough injuries. And now I feel pretty good about this offensive line. So as I look at this unit going into 2019, which right now this is what it's about. Do we want 3-10? No, of course not. We don't want 3-10, but we got 3-10. So now what are you going to do? You got to figure out who's going to help contribute next year. And well, hey, I'm looking at this offense and I'm seeing good things for the future. I think they just got to figure out number one receiver, because another headline: Pierre Garcon is going to go on injured reserve. His knee, had some knee problems. He looks like he's probably nearing the end just because of the injury issues, and he's got a higher cap figure. Teams usually will start to shy away at that point, and especially a young up-and-coming team. The Niners need to figure out who their number one receiver of the future is. So Pierre Garcon may have played his last down for the 49ers. I'm not sure totally, but good guy. I'm really glad that they did bring him in. I think he was able to teach some of the young guys some things. It's just disappointing that he had the injuries.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's unfortunate, but they shall heal, and this team's going to be much better, whenever they all come back.
Yep. So moving over to the defensive side of the ball, when you watch against the Broncos, they shut the Broncos out in the first half. That's pretty impressive. Case Keenum is a pretty good quarterback. They've got some receivers over there, and they've definitely got Phillip Lindsay. And they were shut down. You got to believe that they wanted to win that game, trying to stay in that wild card race. And the 49ers were considered a vulnerable defense. We've seen some problems all season. It's definitely been the unit that's been under fire, but I thought they really showed up and played. I was impressed with it wasn't just the sacks. We saw a sack from Ronald Blair. We saw DJ Reed go in there on a blitz. I really thought this was their best performance of the season. I thought the scheming was better, and even if it didn't end up in a sack, the pressure was there. I saw a lot more pressure, and that's what they need going forward. And I think this might give them some confidence going forward.
Yeah, I see the defense culminating into Seattle-like defense. I don't want to put them in that category right now, but right. Sherman is playing Sherman-like. Again, we got the rookie linebacker Warner, who's playing well. What is it? Blair.
Yeah, Ronald Blair is really playing well this year.
Playing exceptionally well, and that was a big win and a quality win against the Broncos, because I'm gonna tell you, the Broncos are a good ball club. And, they got a quality defense, and their offense, you got their rookie running back over there, as you said earlier, should make All-Pro, this year, play very well and beat that team. So defensively, just like the offense, I believe next year, they keep getting better. And in one or two positions, they can continue to improve on and surely get depth, corner opposite Sherman. I think they need to get some depth so they can get some competition over there. So either he's going to get better or, somebody's going to take that, position. But I do see improvement on that side of the ball also.
Yeah, I think everybody knows Killer Weatherspoon has not had a great season. He's definitely had some trouble, especially early on in the year. He's given up a lot of yards. several touchdowns. I mean, it's been tough to watch. And then, Greg Maben has come in, Witherspoon's been out, and it's just been more of the same. They just target that side of the ball. Sherman, I thought, has played pretty well. Otherwise, he'd be targeted a lot more. But he's still playing pretty well. So they just go to the other side. And sometimes the safety help just isn't there. Jaquiski Tart has been in and out of the lineup. Colbert got hurt. So we're seeing DJ Reed. We're seeing another rookie, I believe it's Marcel Harris. I thought he played pretty well against the Broncos. Some good stops, against the run. So I see the talent. You can see the potential in a lot of these guys, but right now it's so young, it's so raw. So there's going to be mistakes. So I agree. I think they got to bring in some more talent in the secondary to challenge some of these guys. I'm not sure if Kawan Williams is going to come back on the defensive side of the ball or on the line. I don't know if Earl Mitchell will be back. They seem to be taking a lot of his reps in favor of some younger guys. So I think Eric Armstead's playing better. Solomon Thomas is getting pressure. Would like to see him get more sacks, especially given the fact that he was the second overall pick. I mean, that's going to bring a lot of high expectations. But overall, I see the talent. I think the defense does still need more help, more development, and it's going to be the unit that's going to be criticized the most. But hopefully, they'll be able to get more talent, get an edge rusher, and be better than they were this year.
Yeah, I think they're at a point to where being young and talented, it's kind of being pushed past the point that it needs to be pushed right now. Now it's time to grow up, and they are. They're growing. I mean, they're growing, and I see tremendous, progress there. But they're at a point now to where maybe I think they got to get that one corner either in the draft or that difference maker. And they got to get, even though I see great pass rush, they got to get that dog. And those who play the game, they know what I'm talking about. They got to get that dog. And just like last year, I thought Derwin James had that dog. I think this year, I don't know if they're going to have a chance to get him, but Bosa out of Ohio State, I think has that dog in him. And I think he can be a difference maker right now, and bring those other guys up at a quicker rate, and be even better than what they're showing the potential of right now. So just one or two players away, because you can be good and, oh, man, they're developing, and I see the improvement, but they need that guy that can, Sherman used to be that. Sherman is still good, but he's no longer that dog. They need to have that dog, and nobody stepped up to be that guy yet.
Yeah, Nick Bosa is definitely the guy. If they can get the number one pick, which they were lucky enough that the Raiders won, so that way that win did not – they're still in line for that number one pick. Hopefully I'm hoping it all works out where they can draft number one and just get Nick Bosa because, like you said, I think he is definitely what they need. That could be he could change that whole defense. And like you said, he could contribute from day one. They need the dog. Exactly. You're right. They need the guy. They need that alpha dog right away to be the leader of the team and just be a guy that, like a Lawrence Taylor type guy, the guy that all right, where's Nick Bosa lining up? Where is he? We got to find him. Yeah. They need a guy like that strikes fear.
Yeah, Bosa, you know what? Just be similar to your brother. Be similar to your brother who's playing for the Chargers.
Yep.
And trust me, that would be good enough.
Yep, I agree. So, when I say I see some of these guys, some of these young guys like Harris, who I thought played pretty well, won some of his individual matchups. He looked like he looked like he could play on a regular basis, but like you said, it's not just about looking for young talent. Some of these guys got to start. They have to start maturing quicker. There just isn't time to wait around and and hope that they are just better next year. They have to get better right away. So, I definitely think the secondary is probably our biggest problem. But then a great pass rush can also help that secondary. So hopefully they get Nick Bosa, and that can really help take some pressure off that secondary. That they could definitely use some relief in the pass rush to take the pressure off as they get more mature.
Yeah, that's always a great remedy for helping your secondary look better. And again, I do think we've got 3 or 4 pieces of the puzzle already there. But again, that one guy who can be relentless and who can, pressure that quarterback, get him to where he's not feeling comfortable sitting back there and sliding in the pocket. And again, there's somebody there in this draft that can be that guy. And so far, the 49ers may have an opportunity to get him.
Yep. So that's definitely going to be something that we're going to be talking about, anytime that we are able to go on the air for the rest of this season. I think we're going to be talking about guys that they can, who do you think is going to stick around? Who do you think they might target in the draft? And who might be available with free agency? Who's going to get this defense to where it needs to be? Because, I think Malcolm Smith's days may be over. He's in and out of the lineup with injuries. He doesn't look quite like the guy that played on that Seattle team. So I think they got to figure out getting some linebackers to play next to Warner, because besides Fred Warner, without Reuben Foster there, they don't have a lot of linebackers. They got to figure something out there. So, like you said, they're just a few players away. They're probably a pass rusher, a linebacker, and someone in the secondary to take some pressure off Sherman, where he's going to get targeted. They need someone good that on the side that gets targeted. They can't have a guy that just gets beat all the time. So hopefully we're going to see improvement here.
Yeah, the one good thing is the decision makers, evaluators, for the draft, the same way they went out and found Warner, they're going to find another linebacker somewhere in this draft that's going to be a difference maker too. So it's about getting the right guys. And so far, these guys here have shown a track record of, bringing in, talent that we did not think was going to develop this quickly or would even develop at all. So I'm seeing reminiscences of that already in this early stage. So I truly believe they're going to go out there and find those diamond in the roughs and prepare for this upcoming draft and be successful in the guys that they bring in.
Yeah, and the other guy that I'll talk about, then we're probably going to be signing off here, is Kentavious Street. He is, I believe he was picked in the 4th round, and he was a redshirt. He had tore his ACL, and, in 49er fans, I think we all feel very skeptical about redshirts because we saw it over and over with Trent Baalke. Just one redshirt after another, and not one of them panned out. So the last thing we really wanted to see was a redshirt pick, but they did it. And this week he started practicing. He's healthy. He can't play this year because of the injured reserve rules, but he is practicing with the team, and they're saying he's healthy. So I'm hoping that he can be an impact player on the defensive line next year, especially if they get Bosa. I mean, this could be a pretty deep line. Potentially this could be a very deep line with, you got DeForest Buckner, who's a great player. If he's not taking double teams all the time, he's going to be really tough to block. So hopefully next year we're going to see some big changes on this defense.
Only time will tell, on his development. But Buckner, that increase or rapid development with all these guys on the front line will eliminate the double teams that he has to face. I mean, that's their job, to make sure that they dominate to where, one, they know he's not being double teamed, and then, he'll begin to make the plays that we know he's capable of making. So, again, only time will tell, but the guys are there to make it happen. But we're going into, year 3 and 4, and this needs to stop being said. And But I do see improvement. So next year, I think, with a healthy quarterback, running back, and the development of these players on the offensive side of the ball, some teams are going to have to score some points to beat them. So defense just got to, rise up. And I can't believe I used old Kyle Shanahan's old team mantra, rise up. I don't know if he likes that or not, but nonetheless, that's what they're going to have to do, rise up and make sure that, their boy Buckner doesn't get double teamed. How do you do that? You know what? You make sure that you dominate your position on every single play. You win your battle. You do that, you'll assure that he's not going to be double teamed.
Yep, and don't feel bad about using rise up. I mean, you're like right there, so you probably hear it all the time.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Matter of fact, I'll be there. I'll be there on Sunday. I'm going to the Cardinals Falcon game, and my 12-year-old actually is playing his last Pop Warner Junior Pee Wee game. They won the Georgia State Junior Pee Wee State Championship. Went to Florida and unfortunately lost, but they're playing right after the Falcons finished playing in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is going to be pretty cool for those young boys to play in there.
Well, that is outstanding. You have to make sure you have a great time with your kids and enjoy the games, and that's a great opportunity for your son.
Yeah, got him on Sunday, and Dexter Jr., my redshirt sophomore at Georgia Southern, playing in Georgia Southern's second bowl game in their history in Montgomery, Alabama on Saturday. So it's a weekend full of football.
Nice. Well, I was going to say, you're definitely going to have your hands full with family and football, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely, man. But, hey, great being on with you again, man, for tonight's show, and look forward to the next one.
Most definitely. We want to thank everyone for listening. Please check out thegruelingtruth.net for all kinds of podcasts and articles and anything you like sports. We got something up there for you. So thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll catch you next time. For Dexter Carter, I'm Matt Andruskavich. You've been listening to the 49ers Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network, where the legends speak.